Me unclick, got it.
Did it! Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Comics and Coffee, or Coffee and Comics with Clip. What did I name this? I don't even remember. It's certainly not New Comic Day. I'll get rid of that. See you after 30 seconds. Good morning, everybody. I hope you got your coffee ready. And my special guest today, Phil of Phil's Treehouse, and he's fully in the treehouse.
Let me come down. There we go. Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so today I'm doing my mushroom coffee. It's you know what? I shame on me for not bringing the bag down. That's what I really needed to do, because I did not, and I would love to support a local business. So we'll do a quick little good morning. First of all, another Phil in the crowd.
The power of the Phils is strong here.
Philtastic Comics and Art, good morning. Kenneth Bird, good morning. As Chris the Comic Vet would say, the omnipresent Phil's Treehouse. John's Comics with Kids. Las Cruces from New Mexico. It's only a 32-hour drive from my home. DJ Wise, good morning. All right, that is it. Oh, look, a special morning to you, Phil. Oh, special morning to Philtastic. I'm sorry. You know, there is no alcohol in my coffee today. You know, my mother is back from vacation.
Did you say I was described as omnipresent?
Yes, omnipresent, right? Because you are both in the chat and you are on the stream.
It's so meta.
And again, Chris the Comic Vet, and he's not a kid. Look, new rule. If you are 35 or older, we just can't say it, right?
Does that mean we can't buy comics if they're on those racks that are for those kids? The Hey Kids.
Buy whatever.
Racks?
No. Live your life. Buy whatever you want. I am saying, new rule, you are not a child. If you are at 35 is my threshold cutoff for you. You know?
So question. I'm going to turn 720 months this year. When should I have stopped counting my age in months?
Oh, never. And if you've got a mother who will call you on your birthday, who will count the months, days, and hours and seconds, a la City Slickers, even better. Even better. Like, good morning, my angel. I know it's 1 a.m. in New York, but I can think back. It was 472 months ago, 20 hours, 14 minutes, and 10 seconds into labor when I brought you into this world.
This is a Saturday morning show. I'll save that comment for a later time.
It's a Saturday morning show, but I warn people, this is not, I'm going to have to make a warning sign for the opening and be like, this is not, hide your kids.
So every now and then, my sister and I will turn to each other in front of my mother and marvel that she and I shared the same birth canal. I'll say to my sister, we shared the same birth canal. And my sister go, yep, we sure did. And my mom will go, oh. So, yeah.
It's great because you often wonder. You're like, we all came from this person.
Hey, it's Wilbur.
It is Wilbur. Hey, good morning. Cliff is not family friendly. No, I'm not. I'm not.
How do you think families were made?
Yeah, exactly. Well, also, some of the stuff I talk about that's not family friendly is definitely about practice, but certainly not execution. Because listen, technically, I've been trying to get pregnant for 35 years, but it's never going to happen, but I'm never going to stop.
To borrow a famous line, where's the fetus gonna gestate? In a box? You know that movie?
Yes.
Okay.
My goodness. By the way, also fun little fact: the father on Good Luck Charlie, Eric Allen Kramer, right?
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, doesn't matter, right? Because it's a family-friendly that he's on a family-friendly Disney show, right?
Okay.
But the point is, no clue that this guy, sweet, wholesome family entertainment, played Thor on the Incredible Hulk Returns TV film in 1988.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what?
Isn't it crazy seeing some old show from out of the blue? There's some superstar, but they're in a beginning role and you had no idea they were in the show.
Right. And you're just like, I don't understand. I was like, how is this you? And it's like, oh, but it's very much you. But yeah, he's a sweet guy. And, you'll see him he sometimes makes his way around the convention circuit. And he's definitely done other stuff that we would recognize him for. It's just that he's very well known for Good Luck Charlie. But he's very well known in that, Return of the Incredible Hulk. But he's in Robin Hood Men in Tights. He's in American Wedding. I think he stars in Quest for the Mighty Sword in 1990. I think he's the star of that movie.
Okay.
Yeah, he is. I'm seeing him hold the mighty sword. It's very funny. So the guys. Oh yeah, the movie's Troll 3: The Quest for the Mighty Sword. Oh, fun. So it depends on what part of the world you live in on if it's just Quest for the Mighty Sword or not. Oh, in some parts of the world, it's known as A Tor 3: The Hobgoblin. Well, now I know I gotta go watch some stuff. All right, I'm oversharing, but here we go. Oh, freaking Louis in the house. Salutations.
One of my favorite movies is known by several titles, depending on how or where you encountered it. Love Pass is how I know it.
What's the movie?
Love Pass.
Love Pass.
It's based on a true event where a bunch of hikers were found up in, I think it's in Russia, actually, somewhere up in the mountains, all dead. But I don't think folks were ever satisfied with the cause of death. Anyway, this is a movie that explores that.
Fascinating. Love Pass, Dyatlov incident in Russia in 1959. 9 Soviet hikers died in a northern Ural mountain area. Ooh. Well, now another movie I'm throwing on the stack. What drew you to the movie? Is it like a compelling, intriguing, we're trying to figure out this unsolvable mystery sort of thing?
Actually, no, probably it was because I monitor the list of new releases to disc. If not every week, certainly every month, so I can tell what's coming out. And back in the day, whenever this came out, I'm sure that's how that crossed my path. It's been out for a while.
Interesting.
And I actually saw it on some streaming service.
Well, that's how I'm going to be seeing it. That's for sure.
Some streaming service.
Some streaming service. So, yeah, exactly. Was it Netflix? Was it Tubi? Was it, I don't even know anymore. I really
Quick question, and for folks, and I'm not explaining myself first. Do you guys have access to and/or watch Ion Network?
Here, where I live in New York,
Sure.
I've heard of Ion. I don't think I've watched it particularly.
Okay. I'm just more curious about if you have access to it. It is free. A lot of.
Yeah, isn't it like one of those like I think it's like Channel 3 where I live.
Okay.
Because they're like out of West Palm Beach or something crazy like that.
Well, I think honestly, I think it is its own network. It has its own stream, but I think local affiliates can also stream from it as well and carry whatever their program is on their own channel.
Yeah, because apparently it's also part of PAX TV.
Yes. Okay. The reason I ask is because the National Women's Soccer League has games on Ion now, which is really nice because people couldn't watch them last year. And I know this comes from out of nowhere, and that this is not a soccer show, but I was more curious about access to Ion.
That is very interesting. So apparently, let's see. So Ion Television is affiliated with CW, DirecTV Stream, Freevee, Friendly, Fubo, Google TV, LG Channels, Plex, Pluto, Streaming TV Plus, Roku Channel, Tubi, Tableau, TCL, Watch Free Plus, Zumo Play, and YouTube TV. I hope somewhere in the streaming services they detect me talking about them and pay me.
Yes. Hear that, YouTube algorithm? Hello?
I know, YouTube algorithm. I am giving you free advertising. Someone just come to me. Come to me, my children, you know? So Phil, I wish this was something I had researched about you sooner. Are you a modern comics person? Are you at all a modern comics person? So that means that even if you don't focus on any modern comics, are you collecting any modern comics?
I only ever buy new comic books, but I have buying new comic books for so long that I have a lot of old comics. I've always said, I don't want to buy back issues. I don't want to find myself in a situation where I'm chasing back issues, especially for spec. Don't ever want to do that. Sometimes I will.
Yeah, okay. So here's my big problem. Well, I have many big problems of this year, and they're all financial. But here's my financial comic book one, right?
Okay.
So I really wanted to set out something to collect with achievable goals in mind, right? Like, you know, it's like it's easy to attain them. It's not too expensive. You know, I could just set the bar low enough to chase after them, right? But here's my problem. The minute that I made my decision on what it was I was going to chase after, they suddenly became speculatory books. You know, and I'm like, why? You didn't give a crap about these people before I did.
Well, are they? Well, okay. So then we get to the question: how is it important that you have it in a floppy format versus a trade format? Is it available in trade? Do you just want to read it?
I have.
So you want the single issues?
So right, I want to.
I get it.
I like my wall cannot give birth to new items, so I have to acquire them, and I have the trades, so I know the stories, right? Mm-hmm. So just getting them, having them slabbed, or getting them already slabbed is really the goal. And of course, getting them slabbed is really basically feels like the way to go, because between the haggling, the shipping, the this and that, it's like, okay, well, I basically paid what I would have paid for the comic and the slabbing, and then here it is, probably in a better condition, right? Like for instance, I found an old issue of Submariner leading up to the Marvel feature introduction of the Defenders, right? And holding them on the cover and some of the Avengers. I got the book slabbed in a 5.5 for less than $50, you know? And I could have gotten a raw alleged 4.5 for $40, then sent it to get slabbed. Right? So I'm like, hey. So that is a whole thing, sir. A whole thing.
And so Verse found a loophole. So I have to reword my statement.
Okay.
That I buy every comic book at cover price or lower.
Okay.
I don't ever like paying over cover price for a book. And sometimes that means I'm pre-ordering like a 1 in 10 or a 1 in 50 or whatever for that higher price, but it's still
right.
Pre-sale price.
It's the expected price. Yes.
Yeah, and I would say 98% of my collection came from here.
I love it.
I ordered 2 months in advance, starting in 2000.
Now, so do you have a specific LCS you go through or a website you go through?
I'm going to, even though I'm wearing their shirt, constructive criticism for any LCS is that if we pre-order books, as in out of that catalog, and you don't get them, I'm walking away. And
right. But see, this is really problematic, and I'll tell you why, right? Because of the 1 in 10s, the 1 in 25s, and the 1 in 50.
Well, that's not a fair expectation, and I do not have that expectation.
Okay, right. So any normal book, any
A cover.
Right. Okay. So but if it's ratio and they happen to have hit the goal, cool. Where's my copy? Otherwise, we're good.
Yeah, but that means even if it's from some tiny little publisher that's only going to ever publish one book and then it's never going to be here again, It was in previews, and there was an order number, and you had that on your order form, and I asked for it.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so my LCS does not have the
Right.
problem, except that's actually, so he has a problem with Diamond, because I don't know, did you hear about they had one of those trucks flip and whatever?
Yeah,
You know?
well, yeah. And
Yeah.
I see again.
Not everyone is as understanding as you.
See, I know, and that's a problem the retailers face. And all I can say is more power to you. There are ways that you can set a customer's expectation. Now, if you've just got someone new coming off the street who isn't going to ever be back, you're not going to help that customer learn the ways. But right, because there are ways you can help customers help themselves. You know, if for in just an easy example, my orders are due every month on this day. So if you want something, get it to me before that day. There's a simple example.
He has really been pushing that with us, and guess what? Guess what? I'm the only one who's been complying.
Oh well, good for you. It'll so what? A week from now or a month from now, you'll be the only one who didn't miss that issue because you're the one.
Let me tell you a really funny thing that happened. There was a book that came out recently, right? And all the A covers were gone. And I said, I'm sorry. And again, I'm not going to set fire to the world. I'm like, why didn't I get the A cover? Right? And it's like, I was scared. I was like, am I the one who filled out the FOC? And this is not the owner. This is the guy who fills out the books. He goes, you are the only one who filled out the FOC. I was like, thank you. And he's like, okay, I'm not going to literally rip one of the comics out of someone else's hands. So just pick the other cover you want, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm just going to give you the book.
See, and I don't think people realize that the comic shop owner prepays for all those books. He bought them. Whether he can sell them again or not, he owns them now.
Yep.
He owns them. And that's, oh boy, there's a special circle in hell for the people who order books on their pull and don't come up and pick them up. Because your comic shop owner ordered that for you and paid for it for you. It's like, I don't ask you to pick me up a gallon of milk and then not pay you for it.
Do you know what I love? I love when you see them go through the racks and you see that one folder like this, and it's someone who hasn't been there in 6 months. And and there are guys, right, where every Tuesday it's like, oh, here's your Tuesday box. I love it.
And I'm all for the LCS owner who has to take a credit card number before they will set up a pull for a person. Or I'm all for the LCS owner who says any book in here that has been over here a month, I'm putting on the shelves, and your pull is stopped until you empty this. Because we're stealing from our LCS owners if we're asking books to be pulled and we're not picking it. We're stealing from them.
It is quite unfortunate and sadly true.
Sorry.
I am no, don't worry. This is a great topic. I'm actually pulling something up on my side view, because I very much want to play Rate It or Hate It, except that my list grew to about 98 comics, and I'm like, I can't do that to you. And
Bill has a good point too. If you're going to be late, just let them know they're good with it. And on the flip side, if you ordered a book and they're having troubles getting it, just let me know. I'm fine with it as long as I can see you making an effort. And even if I can't blame my LCS for diamond problems. I sympathize with them. I empathize with them for having diamond problems. And everybody these days seems like there's always reasons to talk about diamond. But anyway.
Like the main reason, honestly, is usually just, money. And like, you should just be honest, be like, oh, I got to cut back,
Well, yes. And so you asked me how I buy comics. I was a Wednesday warrior. I have moved most of my books to a monthly subscription service, DCBS. Also related to Lunar. I get the majority of my books for, I would guess, 30% off cover. And if I want 30% off cover, my only responsibility is to fill out my order form and have my order in by the 18th of the month. Now, I go through my LCS for books that I would say are reliable. They're a big shop, and they have two. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're high up on the list of Diamond's top accounts, I think. I think they're in the top 10. I'm not positive. And LCSs go through phases. Sometimes you just have a bad staff or whatever, and they make improvements. And so I'm like, oh, my LCS is good again. And it's not like I'm ever going to stop going to the LCS. I want to look at the books that come out every week, or scan things, or see all the books on the wall. So I'm lucky to have an LCS. But
I am too. I was like, our background is from my LCS, you know?
Hey, quick question. We were talking backstage about cameras and stuff for the Council on Comics. Obviously, they do a lot of footage in the shop.
Yes.
What are they using to film that footage?
Samsung phone.
Just a phone.
Just a phone.
I love that approach. I love that feeling I get from it.
It's the phone in a rig with the 20 plug microphone, and we just do what we can, you know. And
well,
it's
bravo.
Listen, bravo. And also, like, it's hilarious. So we made our Wednesday show. It used to be all pre-recorded. It's now a live show with pre-recorded elements because Sam has a neck injury and editing is difficult, right?
Okay.
So last week, you know, we have a telenovela skit. We have everybody's little picks. And I'm like, Sam, you might be doing more editing than you were before. Are you okay? Like, are you killing? Like, is this killing you? Like,
and whoever's putting those together, maybe it's multiple people that's thinking of.
It's all.
Oh, okay. Well,
no, the skits, we're all contributing. You know.
Well, it's great storytelling. I mean, you really have to boil it down into just, you know, here's what needs to be said. Here's the shot that we need to get our point across, or the joke, or whatever it is you're doing. And I just really like it. It's very well done.
No, it's really funny. And I mean, obviously, I love the creativity. So Sam wrote a script this past week for a telenovela, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but I threw in the voiceover for, you know, esta semana en las viñetas del console, you know, so like I came up with that. I was the one who was like, I have to walk in slapping you, or otherwise, what is this? I hit like, and he's like, why? I was like, have you seen novellas? I was like, if you don't walk in slapping people, you're not making your point. You know, so like, so of course, I'm accusing him of buying the book that was sent out to be slabbed that I wanted, and that I
saw that one.
And you know, but of course I was like, and I'm like coming swinging, and I'm like, sin vergüenza, you know, just like strong, you know. So I added all the extra telenovela elements, right? But he wrote such a great script, and you know, with the evil twin and everything, and then I was like, I told so our friend Josh is holding the camera. I said, Josh, record more shots of us being shocked by the evil twin, like, because it's the big reveal. So all those additional, all of that extra was like, we need more of this.
Well, two things. First of all, are all of the people in those videos employees of that shop? Or
absolutely none of us, no.
None of our. Oh, wow. So kudos to your shop for letting you do that stuff.
Anthony owns the shop. Anthony's the only person there. Steve is the only employee, and he's the one who pulls our books.
Wow. So that's fun. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's
so,
a
like,
fun group.
And Steve only works there once a week just to pull our books.
You remind me of that for lunches during the week. Sometimes I will go over to my mom's with my sister just to visit. And she always has a soap opera on, Young and the Restless. But one thing that I always find so crazy about soap operas is how they break to commercial. Something will just have happened. And then we have characters like looking at each other.
Yep.
Commercial, like just dramatic stare. And so you remind me of when you say telenovela.
Exactly. It's like, Stephanie, how did your breakfast with Oscar go? And it's like, I let Oscar know that I'm pregnant.
Yes. So sometimes my sister and I, when we leave, we will go and then turn around and leave. Yeah. So we will have dramatic exits.
If I were you, I would add a dramatic exit. I would be like, and next time we visit, I'm going to tell you about the abortion that I had in New Zealand. And then and then go. And it's like, what?
Pregnant.
You know, it's like, what? You know, it's like, and when we return, I'll tell you all about when I buried that body in 1989.
And you never knew.
Yeah. And the statutes of limitations of the crime are long gone.
And now that we've moved out of that house, I can tell you.
Oh, I love that. I love it. You know, and I used, oh my God, you know what? So I was obsessed as a kid with All My Children, but it came on against Days of Our Lives. So like that was a whole problem. And then in college, I was outnumbered. My completely heterosexual roommates demanded that we watch Days of Our Lives. And I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. They're like, Stefano's the greatest villain on television. And I'm like, is he? And so, of course, you know, I became obsessed with Stefano DiMera. And then what the guys really liked is that being on top of Days of Our Lives was helpful in attaining females.
Well, yes.
Yes. So not only did people love the show, but the added element when the girls would come over to hang out and be like, oh my God, did you see what Stefano did to Marlena in that basement thing? And then he's got the twin running around pretending to be her. And then the guy's like, yeah. The next thing you know, it's like, yeah, I'm going to be locking my door and to come in.
There's no other guy can talk about soaps with that woman like they can.
It's an amazing time. And speaking of amazing time, I'm going to segue. We're going to do Rate It or Hate It. So, Phil.
Okay. All right.
This is cover prices Shakers as of yesterday afternoon, right? We're going to go through it. You're going to tell me if it's worth rating or if you hate it and we should skip it, right?
Are you going to talk? Oh, that's right. We don't know why they're Shakers, do we? Shakers just means this had some market action.
Right, but there is some information. Like, for instance, our first one here, this is the first appearance of me being zoomed out is not helping me.
That football player looks invisible.
Right, but that invisible football player has nothing to do with it. It's the first appearance of the sports writer at the Daily Planet, whose name is escaping me, even though he's literally on the My Adventures with Superman cartoon. And I should know better.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's. All right, James Gunn announced Beck Bennett to be Steve Lombard. So Steve Lombard is the sports writer for the Superman comics. This is his first appearance. So, Superman number 264, do we rate it or hate it?
Well, there's no reason to hate it, but I rate it very low when it comes to spec.
Right, exactly. Now, so at the scale of 1, being like, I just barely consider this a collectible. 5, if we get to a 5, it's in the range of this is a collectible for some, and like 8, 9, or 10 is like this is something worth seeking out specifically for your collection.
All right. Well, then I would say a 5 because it will be a collectible for some. Certainly, Superman collectors. Yeah. Here's what I'm equating it to. What's the equivalent character for? Well, I think of Jimmy Olsen, but he's special. I'm thinking, what's the equivalent character for other titles? The Spider-Man and
right, because
Spider-Man have a sports writer.
Yeah, Spider-Man does have a sports writer. Do I remember his name? No, I don't. But I know there's one there.
Yeah. So, because like I have the first appearance of, is it Anita Hill? Maria Hill?
Maria Hill, yes.
Maria Hill. But great, big whoop. It's like maybe $8 from time to time.
You know, it's really unfortunate because her character has had a pivotal role in Marvel television and movies.
I agree. You know? So I think ultimately the value of this book will have to do with the impact on the storyline that character has. And I don't think it will have a lot.
And Trev, my fellow Superman lover, agrees, also a 5.
Okay.
I love it. We're doing great. All right. Next one, Venom versus Carnage. So apparently Toxin is going to show up in the next Venom movie. And apparently this is a Toxin key. Maybe it's his first appearance. Again, I'm way too zoomed out, so I'm going to ruin this for all of us. And, all right, so Venom 3 just confirmed. Toxin is one of the main antagonists. Antagonist alongside Null. Apparently Null is going to happen. But is it going to work or is it not going to work? So it says toxin pairing. So I guess maybe this is toxins first appearance. I'm not a toxin lover, so I'm not 100% sure. So again, rate it or hate it.
Well, I was gonna hate it, but then I heard Noel was coming back, so I will give it a 5.
Right. Again, I'm in the same category. It is a noteworthy character, but he's not magnificently canon changing. Where Venom and Carnage actually are canon altering figures. I feel maybe I'm going a little too low for Toxin because I'm not. Maybe Toxin might be worth a 7. Like I do remember he's a cop and he got bonded with the symbiote and he really didn't want to be much of a bad guy. But also doesn't sound like they're going to go that route with him in this movie. And can we trust Sony to produce a Venom movie and give us Null?
Well, see, I was in a conversation earlier on another channel, just kind of in chat, and they were talking about that. I'm kind of like, based on what I'm hearing, and by the way, I'm not one to put a lot of stock in rumor until I see the actual trailer. I don't really care about a movie. Show me a trailer, then I start caring more now. And my comment at the time, based on what everyone was saying, is the only thing that makes this a Marvel movie is the logo at the beginning.
Yeah. Exactly. That's pretty much it. Now, will they figure out a way to make this Spider-Man relevant in some way, shape, or form? Because the last time they really yanked us around, by
I know.
having Venom wake up in that extra clip in the Peter Parker universe, and then at the end No Way Home, having him at that bar, it was like, why did you do all this to jerk our chain? And then the same thing with at the end of Morbius, having Vulture show up
to jerk our chain.
Yeah, exactly. Very
ticket
upset.
sales, money grab.
It's mostly a money grab. So that's 2 5s. We're at number 1. This is going spectacular. But now we're at Void Rival.
Okay. Did you want to say what's the...
It's rated or hated, baby.
Well, okay. Then I'm going to rate it. I'm not a hater. Okay. This is Transformers, right? Ultimately?
Yes.
Okay.
Transformers G.I. Joe.
Which both franchises completely missed me. I am not familiar with any of them.
Okay.
But I know that huge fan bases on both, and that this title is getting praise from all sides, from what I can tell.
Absolutely.
So,
even I'm enjoying it.
Well, see, okay. So I
too missed a lot of the boat when I was younger.
Okay. So based on everything, I can only do this based on word of mouth. And so I'm going to say 8. I
like it. Trev, the shipping guru, also agrees with me.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I too am going to give it an 8 because for me not to have a strong investment in those franchises, and I still really dug this and am digging a lot of the things that you're doing. It's great. Look, Durs is popping in on his break.
Hey, Durs.
Thank you, Dursy. Oh, look at Trev. Energon! I gotta say, I appreciate the motivations. And someone mentioned to me the other day that the old Marvel G.I. Joe and Transformers comics had a crossover, and then after the crossover, G.I. Joe just ignored Transformers, but the Transformers did not ignore G.I. Joe. When the Decepticons were moving their headquarters, they were going to move closer to Cobra, and they said, let Cobra know. Like, it's in the comic. They're like, inform them. And I'm like, oh my, somebody was setting up a part 2. All right, so here's a really fun, interesting one. Popular teenagers number 5.
Yeah, I'm going to rate it. See, starting with that last one we just showed, I'm not familiar with it, right? And you didn't tell me what was special about it or not. So I'm thinking myself as a retailer. And that last one, I knew just word of mouth. As a retailer, I should stock that. So as a retailer, I'm thinking I would stock this too. Why? Because it's a beach cover. Because it's got girls in bikinis. Because it's an older book. Is it Archie? I can't tell if it's Archie.
No, I do not believe. Oh, wait, let's just zoom in again. Because I'm just.
I don't think it is.
It's not. That
Okay.
looks like A-Star Publications.
Okay. So, it's a 10-cent book too, so that really dates it. So anyway, I'm going to say yes, and not knowing anything about it, I would rate that a.
Yeah, girls in bikinis, guys in briefs. I mean, like, why? Let's not neglect anyone. All right, let's make it. There's a beach blanket too.
Well, yes, good point.
Also, someone is named Tony Gay. Also, the boys are looking up at a poster of the girls, but there are truly some dudes flexing muscle beach style in the background. So I love this cover for all the queer-coded magic that's happening here. Boy Toy's got a rainbow shirt happening. I mean, like, y'all ignore the signs and be like, oh, we're looking at the girl poster. What?
All these things I miss. I need to hire you at my shop so I know what books to put on the wall. See, so I was going to give it a 6, and I noticed here maybe someone else gave it a 6. But all we need to erase that reading is someone blowing a bubble.
Yep, exactly. Look at Travis just laughing. He's just like, but I'm just saying, right? Yeah, all right. All we need is one of them to be blowing bubblegum. And look, this kid, look at those cheeks. He looks like he's getting some bubblegum action happening. And we all know what that's code for. So I'm just
He's getting ready to blow something.
He's getting ready to blow something. Look at Muscle Man holding the medicine ball. It's all here. Look at the wow.
You're not supposed to blow on it. That's just an expression.
Yeah, this is so funny. Oh, look at the beautiful gals. Wow. Homeboy is looking at Medicine Ball Man. I don't care what anyone is saying.
That's a game of basketball going on back there? The one guy's holding the ice cream cone?
I think this is Muscle Beach territory, and I think that is a medicine ball.
Oh, all right. Could be volleyball, but the ball colors different.
Okay, clearly, I have more experience in the Muscle Beach arena
genre. Yeah,
right. I was like, all of that is straight
counterculture.
Beach. I follow all those old, like photographers were like, well, we can't actually make it gay. It's just gonna be muscle boys in their shorts. They're just at the beach. It's like, Greg, we saw you trying to blow one of them earlier. I'm just saying we're at the beach.
I was bobbing for apples.
Exactly. I'm so glad Roscoe's here supporting you this morning, by the way.
Hey, Marcus.
And Marcus is here supporting you. By the way, I am so sorry. I did not mean to neglect my buddy here. So Freaky Louie, you can catch me with him tonight at 7 p.m. for our own Comic Book Men on Community, a tribute, a celebration of In Living Color's Men on Film.
Oh, wow. And
I can just tell you that Louis absolutely fucking killed it, and I can't wait for everybody to see it tonight. I'm very excited. I also like to think I killed it too, but I felt like I could deliver more gay fever to the situation than my friend here. that Greg. I hope Phil is listening with the headphones, and the children are going, why is Greg blowing at the beach? I don't understand. Okay, we're at the unbelievable Gwenpool number 0, the Bacalo 1 in 25 variant from 2016. Why is this suddenly a shaker other than everybody loves a Gwen? Deadpool Secret Wars number 2 is where she first showed up. Joe Quinones and Chip Zdarsky created her. I didn't realize it was Joe. That's good. Yeah. Well, Joe Quinones is from my area. His sister is still around here, and she actually worked on a Power Rangers annual with him. New meta commentary. Like her first comic appearance, this book has caught some heat because it checks more than a few boxes. In addition to reprinting the ultra cool cover variant, this time with the pool filled with blood, it's also a perfect jumping on point for fans of the character in the hard to find and now rising price point of the original. hovering around the $75 mark. Or copies of this book in a 9.4 sold for $100 June 1st. All right, so it's just there's interest in Gwenpool. Okay,
and I hadn't noticed. That's an interesting variation that it's filled with blood. You're right, because now I'm remembering
the regular pool.
The A cover, yeah. Well, not a fan of this character, and I put this in the same bucket as 500 different spiders from Spider-Verse, of which Spider-Gwen was one of them, and I'm a fan. But when you start mutating it a little further, so I'm not a hater.
But you're going to go low.
As a comic shop owner, no, I'm actually not. As a comic shop, I'm totally. This is something I'm completely. I wouldn't say I'm unfamiliar with it. I don't reach for it. Interesting. Trev gives it a 2. Well, I think anything that I don't hate automatically kind of gets a 5 because I'm under the impression that everybody, at least someone wants it. There is a fan.
There is a community for this.
Yes.
So
but this is another example of something where it's a strong community for this. And I recognize that. I think it's an interesting variant. What was it? 1 in 25?
1 in 25, yes.
I like the blood pool theme. 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. Based on the ferocious popularity, I too would go with 7.
Okay.
You know, I'm in my personal life. I probably am with Trev. It's like a 2. It doesn't mean much to me. And
I have the first Spider-Gwen, and I'm kind of somewhat invested in her, but
yeah,
that's where it stops.
There's so much I feel that can be done with Spider-Gwen. You know, especially like her newest story, she's stuck in the 616 at the moment, you know, and I don't know, is 616 Peter Parker familiar with Spider-Gwen?
Well, has Spider-Gwen ever come to 616?
She has before under other circumstances, but not like being stuck there. She's currently stuck there. So like, and also she's used the name Ghost Spider before, like in the animated series.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
That's really different. So I'm just wondering if maybe I'm very curious to know if our Peter knows that she is a Gwen or not.
I think so. The Spider-Gwen, if I'm tempted to say if for no other reason, I think Miles talked to Peter about her.
Yes. Right.
But I'm not positive.
I actually am looking up to see if they have met, which apparently
yes, he knows his comic verse.
Yes, he does. He does. And he actually has to calm down and get to trust her. Apparently that's the thing.
Yeah. And I'm remembering the scene. Isn't there a scene in Spider-Verse, the film, where Peter sees Spider-Gwen and is kind of weirded out by it? I don't recall now.
I don't recall. I think right, because like the only Peter we have a lot of time with is married Peter, right? And I think he's only interested in Mary Jane.
Okay. Well, okay, yeah.
But
he just sees her as an ex. So.
Fun to know.
Oh boy. Well, okay, look at that. So I know nothing about that, but it gets a 10 and goes on my wall.
Right. It's a very, you know, like very Marilyn Monroe-esque thing.
Yeah.
Torchy, number 5 from Innovasion. I remember Innovasion. Bill Ward was a famous artist and cartoonist in the 40s and 50s, notable for his good girl art. I love how we have these fun names. The Innovation series in 1992 features this 5 issues with varying degrees of risque cover art. The book has long been sitting as a $20 raw, but recently a high-grade sale of $163 for a 9.8. For reference, a near copy is around $40 to $50 today. All right, but wow, that did not take much. You know, look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
See, solid 8. I was like, you got a solid 8 in your pants right now. Apparently, Trev. Jeez. Oh, hard 8. He does have a hard 8. Someone knows how to measure.
Sure, you don't want to think long and hard about that.
He didn't have to. Apparently, he just
because I'd be willing to bet if I put that on the wall on my LCS, it would be gone within 2 business days or over the course of a weekend, probably.
Yeah. Dude, it's so first of all, you know how I am. I'm very sexual, right? But I have never like stood around and been like, yo, look at this Nightwing in his underwear by Nicola Scott that I just got. Yeah. right? And there are dudes that I meet at comic shops who are like, oh, I just got my CGC books back. I'm like, oh my God, yes, let's do this, right? And it's like 9.9 of good girls or naughty girls because their boobies are out, and it's just 9.9 after another, and
Oh, is that-
you know, and like, you know, and I'm like, oh, dope, man, that's dope, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like mad uncomfortable. I was like, I don't ever want to hear any of you complain about my gay shit ever.
Yeah, well, it is a two-way street.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it better, like, and you don't know how upset I get. Like, I get so mad that I like go home and think about remortgaging the house and just making a line of comics of Good Boy art on the cover, you know? Be like, Cliff, why did you have Amazing Spider-Man 25 reprinted with 72 variants? I was like, we need Good Boy Peter. We need Good Boy Peter everywhere. I was like, I want everyone comfortable.
Hey, quick question for you. In your opinion, who reps better, Marvel or DC?
As far as Good Boy art?
Well, no. I'm sorry.
As far as LGBTQ storytelling?
Yes. When it comes to Pride Month, who walks the walk better?
Oh man, they both need work. But,
well, I agree with that probably. Yeah.
But to their credit, I am very happy with who they get involved each year.
With who? Which one? I'm asking.
No, it's even, and I'm equally thrilled and disappointed every year with both.
Okay,
you know,
fair.
Like there's always one or two stories where I'm straight up in tears and I'm like, oh my God, this was so sincere, this was so powerful, you know. And then there's always one or two where like, why did you even do this, you know? I'll tell you what, the very first DC Pride one, I actually met and had many of the contributors sign, and their stories for their involvement for the first year were fascinating, you know? Like one of the writers wanted to be involved because he felt that in the 80s, when he was given a chance to write a gay character, he felt like he really underdelivered, and like he owed it to himself and to the comic book community to tell a stronger tale, right? So I thought that was really interesting. You know, and that's like that was a huge takeaway I had in the first year. I saw Kevin Conrad at Terrificon just after he had put his story in the Pride special. That was amazing. You know, yelled at before I even got near him, yelling and screaming how I love him. You know, being like, "Oh my God, when you were on Dynasty, I loved it so much." Like Dynasty, I was like, you were that Republican boy. You were all hot for Steven. It was so good.
That's funny.
I was like, y'all didn't get to do anything on screen, but I loved every second of it. You know, also he got to act with new Steven and original Steven, which I thought was really nice on Dynasty. Not that any of you know or care. Okay, moving right along then. The next shaker is the Street Fighter Pinup Special #1. Rainbow Micah 1 in 10 by Udon. Oh, look at her. All right. Well, I am familiar with the games. I have played. I know who she is. Again, this definitely falls in the good girl category book.
I had never heard the term naughty girl.
Yes, I also call it naughty girls. Yes.
Well, you said the difference was though, if that was a naughty girl, she wouldn't be wearing, or we'd be having like nip slips or stuff. Right.
Right. So this is probably bordering on naughty girl territory.
Oh, okay. Because I'd never heard of that. I didn't know if there was a distinction then.
No, that is my creation. That is my creation.
Okay.
You know, because when I can see everything on the cover, we've left good girl behind. We are in naughty girl territory because there's no clothing on her. I was like, this girl is literally riding a rock. What else is there to be seen?
Well, I personally really like this from the get-go, not because of the woman, but because it gives me an 80s indie book vibe. And that's always a fond era for me. Now, that character specifically reminds me of a character that's quite prominent in the Marvel Comics series Starstruck, later moved to IDW.
Oh.
By Michael J. Kaluta, the artist.
Okay.
I'd put it on the wall again, like the book before it. just because it'd be a seller. I'm not a fan of this kind of thing. Ultimately,
But
I like.
it sells.
Yes, but it sells. But that's kind of why I'm not a fan of it, is because sometimes it's a money grab. Look at, well, I don't want to. Some publishers, 90% of their catalog is good girl covers, and that kind of makes me go, eh. Anyway,
What do you mean,
but
Xenoscope? And like,
what?
Xenoscope? No.
Oh well, yeah. Well, I was going to say even Dynamite sometimes has that issue with certain titles. That's like, don't how
Yeah,
many
but
different?
Dynamite knows who they're playing to. You know.
Well, I know, and it's like I like Elvira just like the next guy, but I don't need 30 variants of every issue. With
Right, being that all the time.
It's like, come on, yeah, and it's like and it's so predictable. Oh, and I love boobies, but here's the thing: illustrations do nothing for me. Put a photo of that woman on the cover, and you might turn my head. An illustration of doesn't do anything for me. That's not a real. That's a drawing. That's fake.
Listen, people really love it. You know.
I know. And again, like I said, I'm putting this on my wall because it's going to be a fast seller. I'm giving it a 7. And I want to look inside and find out more because I'm going to be curious about that publisher.
Absolutely. And let's get curious about the artist for a moment.
Oh boy.
So it's Creon as the artist. And this is Cammy from Street Fighter. We can tell people love it, including our precious David Nakayama is a fan. So I just let's just let people know. Hold on, let's see. He does somewhere. He does guys too. Let's get there. Oh, look, here's a dude. There we go.
By the way, I was going to say it's not quite the same thing, but I like nothing better than when we have guests like K-pop or I know Lady F is good for this. When she's on shows where the beefcake comes, or where the Good Girl books come out.
Yes,
I like it when they start pulling out the beefcake books.
Yeah, me too. I need a beefcake.
Because Toop can play that game. That's fair.
I need more of a beefcake collection. And oh my god, I got into it with an artist online the other day, and I'm forgetting who. And he was like, "What?" He's like, "My beefcake work is out there," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I need the proof for you to go on the list." And he immediately tags this name word he did for some girl. And I was like, it's Ali Garza. And I was like, Ali Garza, congratulations. You've made the beefcake list. You know? And he's like, thank you.
It's just about.
We're having this argument. On Gail Simone's Facebook because Gail Simone is like, who's the beefcake artist? Like, where are they? Right? So I'm listing all these dudes, and like Ali Garza's like, can I vote for myself? And I'm like, you sir, where is your beefcakes? And he's like, what? And then he's like, yo, I'm ready for you. And I'm like, you win this round, Ali Garza. You win. His dudes do definitely look different than his women. All right. So back to Rated or Headed. It's Sonic the Hedgehog number 35 versus Mecha Sonic. I'm imagining it is because it's an issue 25 and because it's Mecha Sonic's debut. Sonic retailer incentives. Oh, it's a retailer incentive. Okay, so it's been heated. Mecha Sonic would later be introduced in number 39. There's some 9.8s out there going around 410. All right, so what do we think? You're going to answer as a retailer. I can feel it in my bones.
I always can't. I have to because I'm not familiar with any of these on a personal level. It's not something I'd put in my collection. I'm not a console gamer, but I know that video game comics are popular these days. I know that Sonic always has an audience. After doing a little research, I'm purchasing this and putting it on my wall with a 6.
Okay, very good. I'm going to go as high as a 7 just because the Sonic fanaticism is very real.
Okay.
Trev, if it's a 0, it means hate it. Yeah. 0 means that you hated it. He's like, I'm out.
Get that out of my store. I'm not putting that in my bins.
Oh my god! I just realized I keep trying not to cut into like other people's time, and like I'm like we're cutting into Philtastic's time. I'm like I feel terrible. But and he's got like an amazing guest today, which I believe. Let's go check that out. In the meantime, the next one up is Scooby-Doo. Where are you? Hate it or rate it?
Well, I like Scooby-Doo. I have a cat named Scooby. I don't know what makes this hot, or I don't know what makes this a shaker.
Oh, Roscoe's the guest today. Oh my God.
Oh no.
Oh my, you know what? It's only fair that that's what's happening Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Choose between Treehouse and his partner Roscoe. Go for it.
You know, I don't have to share any of the books. We could play Rate It or Hate It and end the show, but I'll leave that up to the host. Anyway,
listen. We're playing it through. We all have the power of replay. We can do it, people. So replay me or replay Phil, whatever you need to do. There's no judgment. I still love you all the same.
So when it comes to Scooby-Doo, where are you? I'm going to give it a... That was my soap opera exit.
Yes.
It doesn't excite me without knowing why it's a shaker.
So this focused on DC Comics published under its younger age comics. So this is apparently Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? #1 from November of 1920. I guess this is when they tried to, DC tried to make
1920. Wow.
No, 2020. Sorry.
Okay.
I guess what they're saying is that DC made this conscious effort to do a relaunch. Oh, in 2010. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes, there it is.
And it's hard to find this copy in a good condition. So now, there's some momentum, especially because there could be a Netflix live action coming. So interesting stuff.
Yeah, I give it a 5.
I too give it a 5. I would love to be more excited, but I do remember it was kind of fun. And I'm not going to lie, I very much have been enjoying the Scooby-Doo team-ups.
Hey, Spidey.
Good morning, sir. So but yeah, the the Scooby team-ups have been a lot of fun. So I give it oh my God, Spidey, you're up late. It's like 1 a.m. over there. So is Simon just getting up, or is he just going to bed?
Simon, I think you're 12 hours in front of us. It's almost 11 a.m. here on the ES.
Yeah. Well, no, but he's like, it should be almost 1 a.m. there, because, there's that whole daylight savings thing, because they have one and we have one, I mean, and he's near Canberra, I think. So like Canberra.
1 a.m. on a Saturday night. Spidey's partying.
Yeah, it is. Oh, he's partying. Okay. All right.
With us. Thank you. We'll raise our coffee to Simon.
Cheers. All right, Sailor Moon.
Oh yes,
1999 Tokyo Pop foil cover. You know what? Do you want to know what's hilarious? All I need to hear is Sailor Moon foil cover 1999. I don't even need to know any further details to know why this might suddenly be a shaker.
Welcome, Council. And yes, I give this a 9.
I too am giving it a 9. A recent 9.0 sold for a whopping $7.99. Wow. Now,
nice. So that's probably hard to find in good shape. You can even see the dent on that.
Yeah, you can even see the little sticker thing here too.
Yeah.
So the first thing here is it's going to be hard to find. All right. The next thing to know, this was a Tokyo Pop exclusive. An exclusive in 1999 versus what an exclusive looks like in 2024 is worlds apart. An exclusive in 1999, you fought tooth and nail if you got a copy or not, and you probably had to be there to get it, right?
And it might not even have been announced.
Right. It may not even have been announced, because how many people were actually using the internet then?
Yeah, they're just giving out to retailers or at special summits or that kind of thing.
It's looking like it was only given out at San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, see? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So again, 1999. So yes, this was serious. Very serious. Yeah, I agree. Like that, just that, all that. It's a 9.
I have a San Diego Comic Con cover from 2000, 2001, Century #1.
Look at Trev giving it a 10.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Oh, Century #1, Marvel Century #1.
Yeah, it has a San Diego Comic Con cover.
Dude, that's outrageous. All right. Our next shaker, Isaac Asimov's science fiction, Orbit #1.
I owned this.
You hate it?
I owned it.
Oh, you
I
own
don't.
it?
I don't anymore. I'm always interested in science fiction anthologies, and this is going to prove me wrong. But they never, or anthologies in general. But rarely did they ever do anything on the aftermarket. Whenever I get in, yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Dave Stevens.
It just changes everything. So
yes, exactly. That's the main reason. And his recent documentary gave this book. Yes.
I didn't know there was a recent documentary about Dave Stevens.
Just Google it. Dave Stevens, Drawn to Perfection.
Ooh. See, now I'm putting stuff on my list.
So Phil, were you or were you not aware there was a recent surge in interest in his art?
Oh, yes. And I owned the first appearance of Rocketeer in, what was it, Star Slayer? What was that word it was first?
All right. So the recent surge in interest in his art came from the immediate announcement of the documentary. And then the subsequent release. That's why books people haven't looked at in decades, literal decades, suddenly we're like, oh, look at this book just suddenly selling for $380. But God rest his soul, great guy, and amazing legacy he left us with. So, did you get this?
Yeah, I didn't give it a number. And knowing what it is, and given current conditions, I would probably buy. Well, I might buy this again. I would want to look through it. I agree with Trev in the 7.
I am going to concur and also give it a 7. I don't feel it's got any other special value outside of Dave Stevens.
Yeah, I was gonna say 6 months from now, I'm not sure I would rate it the same, but given
who knows,
the timeliness of it,
people will be like, "Hey, I read it and it was actually good."
Yeah, I can't wait for a new one.
Yeah, except who is this generation's Dave Stevens?
Well,
that's tricky, isn't it?
Would things that come to mind immediately would Cho be on that list?
You know what? He really would, wouldn't he?
That's all I can think of right off the bat.
And he's had to take a lot of crap for that too, So, and I feel bad because I was like, people are coming after him. And he's like, I just did the job I was paid to do, and I
didn't know that. This is new to me. I didn't know that.
Oh, you did not know that people have come after him for his women being too unrealistic, too sexualized, too outrageous.
Yeah. Look at half of Dynamite's catalog. Come on.
And I want you to know, this is not a recent thing. I'm generalizing, have been after him for over a decade about it. And now it's white noise to him, I'm sure.
Whatever, change the channel for crying out.
Yeah, exactly. It just really annoys me. And it makes me sad. Because he
must be doing something right, because he's making a living at it.
He is. Scotty, that's right. So Scotty and I, Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time, will be interviewing. I cannot speak this morning. We'll be interviewing John Boy Myers. That's going to be freaking stellar. Check that out on his channel, Comic Book Addicts, SSpawn87. You know it. You love it. It's got to be great.
Can't live without it.
Yeah. I am so chock full of appearances this month, and
you're my first of 3 in 3 days.
Yeah, right. So I'm with you today. I pre-recorded for tonight with Louie. Tomorrow I've got the council at 5 and usually Durs at 6. And that's Sunday. Monday I've got the council at 8. Tuesday we usually record in the shop. Wednesday I'm live at the council at 8. Thursday I don't even remember what I have Thursday. I'm very nervous about that. And then Thursday the 20th, I'm on with 22, for our uncensored, which me, it's going to be wildly uncensored. So be prepared, everybody. Be prepared. And then Oh my God, I don't even know. I've got something on the 29th. Like, I just got all sorts of stuff. It's going to be wild. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun month of me going to no conventions and me drinking my way through other people having fun without me. It's got to be an amazing time.
Taylor.
Mega Man #1 holofoil cover from Dreamwave Productions 2003. We found it ironic that we reviewed this book in December of 2021, in June of 22, and June of 23. Now in June of 24.
Wow.
Let's call it the annual Mega Man update.
Cyclic.
This is the first U.S. appearance of Mega Man in comics. This book is a significant piece of history and always will be. Interesting. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So what do we think?
It looks like it's foil, yes?
It's hollow foil, yes.
Yes, okay. So 8 or 9. It's high marks.
Yeah.
It's walking through my door, and though I'm not familiar with it after I Googled it. Yeah. I'm saying a giant yes.
That's right. What do we know? Mega Man, first U.S. appearance in comics? Check, check. Cliff's burnout stream. Like, what? You know what? But what? How many burnout streams can? Like, I don't even know what my burnout stream would look like. I think there would just be like a lot of crying and rubbing my head.
Oh.
You know.
So I know that Comics Curing Cancer is kind of coming up again, especially with the Heroes Con appearances and such. But I know the auction's coming up in October. I thought about like a 24-hour Comics Curing Cancer stream. Where, and I don't know how you would work this, but where folks pledge X amount for every hour you stream up to 24 hours.
Yep.
And then just have a 24-hour live stream for charity and just
that sounds great.
Stay awake. I'm hatching that plan.
See, I'm a cheater, right? What I would do is I would plan that, but I would specifically plan rotating co-host for the 24 hours. So I'm leaving someone in control during the 24 hours, to rotate.
I'm bringing my case of 5-hour energy drink.
Yes, I can't do that. Okay, my family history is filled with heart disease, hypertension, diabetes. Like, we're not playing these games. I will gladly do that stuff for charity. I will gladly add a rotation. All right. Ooh, Zatanna. This is from very recent. Night Terror Zatanna #2, Chuma Hill 1 in 50 cover.
Is her mouth stitched?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
With, all the stuff growing out of her and the eyeballs everywhere. Interesting, isn't it?
Wow. Well, I like the art right off the bat, and that would look good on the wall. I do like DC's, what do they call it? I want to call it the JLA Dark Universe. Do they have a word for that part of their universe?
No, because it's in continuity, so it's just dark.
Because it would have been Vertigo back in the day, and still have been in continuity.
That probably would not have been true. Much of Vertigo was kind of not in continuity.
Okay, I just talk about how like JLA come over to Swamp Thing every now and then, and Batman.
Right, but that was still before Swamp Thing became like very Vertigo.
Okay. Well, good point.
I have my debates about it because like they would be continuity adjacent so often, then stuff would wildly happen over in a Vertigo book that had zero impact in DC, and I'm like, okay, this is not the same thing.
Yes. How come no one in Gotham noticed what's going on with Swamp Thing at the moment, kind of thing.
Right. I'm like Swamp Thing is literally up there uprooting the whole freaking city in the air, and like y'all are just fine. Okay.
Yeah. Good point. So anyway, well, I don't know anything about the story content, but just cover alone, I'm going to say 7.
Yeah, I'm going to go with like a 2.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I was not super crazy about the story, and this one really is just appears to be a interest in the cover alone, and that's about it. So not really enough for me to go completely crazy over it.
I don't usually do cover buys myself either.
Yeah. So no, I'm not saying I'll never do a cover buy, because like if I love it, I love the artist, I'm at the artist table, I got a good deal online, I'm going to have exceptions to my rule because, of course, like every other human being, I'm very capable of hypocrisy. But I don't go wildly out of my way for a book that has little meaning other than the cover, right? Like, I am interested in getting, I want the Nakayama Rogue covers for her first appearance, right? Because I own her first appearance. I love Rogue. I love that comic. I love his art. I love how she looks on those covers, punching through the page. I will probably gladly make the exception because it's him. I'm also going to wait for one of those whatnot sales where I can get both covers for a fraction of the price. But the point is, I still like it. Now, that said, this one should be easy. This one speaks for itself. H&R Puff and Stuff #1 by Western Comics. Gold Key.
So since I am turning 720 months old this year, I remember watching this on television. I even remember it had like a companion series, and I don't know if they were truly related, but they shared the same actor, I think, called Lidsville, starring Charles Nelson Riley. I saw the H.R. Puff and Stuff movie in a theater.
Wow.
For nostalgic reasons, I really like this. I don't know why it's here. I don't know why it's a shaker, unless they're doing something with the franchise. And if that's the case, if they are doing something with the franchise, if they're bringing it back, is this an issue 1? Yes, it is. So it's funny they call it a Western. That's interesting. I never saw any of those creatures out west. I'm giving it a 7.
All right.
Yeah, this comic is for old folks that were scared to publicly talk about drugs. Yes. That actor sadly met a very tragic ending.
Also very sad. Yeah, I mean, it often gets name dropped in interesting places. And it looks like this is the nostalgia meter cranked up to 11.
Okay.
But yeah, for the nostalgia alone, I will join you in giving it a 7.
Okay, it's like, why now? And if there's no reason why now, then it's no. I don't know. Would I have given it a 7 3 years ago? I don't know. Probably not.
3 years ago, I think I still would have. Like, H&R Puff and Stuff's like legacy is worth the entry alone.
Okay,
that's how I feel about it. You know what I mean?
Would you put that in the same bucket as like Monkeys comics, or
if it's #1, yeah.
Okay. And by Monkeys, the music group.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah. Other TV show comics, I guess. Yes.
Daydream, believe in it. Got it. And a homecoming.
Oh, I'm gonna have that stuck in my head now.
I'm so sorry. Would you sing "Sunshine Day" from the Brady Bunch to like
Sunshine Day? Yeah. That's all I'm singing. Let's see. Let's make up words that Cliff is saying. No, I don't want to put barbecued turkey down my pants. Oh, okay. Well, if you're gonna give me $20. Oh, what? I've got to add sprinkles? I don't know about that. How about glitter? Let's see if I have any around here.
And now I'm back. So
you're gonna have to watch that. I made you speak.
Very good. Very good. Oh, like I was talking or just making up the words? Very good. All right. So Janet Jackson homage cover for Gen 13 #1.
That's funny. Well, the album is I remember the album it brings me back to the day. Yes, this is the yes. Again, it's like, why wasn't this popular 2 years ago? And maybe it would have been. But I would put this in the same category as like the Purple Rain homage with Batgirl.
Yep.
6, maybe 7.
Well, I have particular love for Janet, so I'm gonna stick, with a 7. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the 7 for Janet. That's for sure. I appreciate it. It's a great cover. It's a beautiful homage. It's from 1995. It's not quite easy to come by.
Do we know whose hands those were?
What, for when Janet did it?
On the cover. Because what a role. We want you to be the person who places their hands on Janet Jackson's breasts for this album cover.
I am certain she chose who was doing it.
Sure, yeah, but do we know who that was? Let's get them on a show and interview.
That was like on the cover of Ebony or Vanity Fair or something, right?
Rolling Stone.
Okay. Renee Elizondo was the one who did it.
Oh, interesting.
Who was her boyfriend at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say the one thing I remembered is she chose the person.
Okay.
You know, where she was like, "We can do it, but I'm telling you how we're doing it."
Can't think of a better choice.
Exactly.
If it's not going to be me, then it might as well be her boyfriend.
Right. And I gotta say, I do love when we go back in time and we look at these things and the artist in question, right? It, like they had all the initiative. They were like, this is how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and then I get really bummed out when you hear stories that when you hear a story where they had no agency and things just had to happen. All right, Betty and Veronica, number 262. It's Betty the Vampire Slayer versus Vampiricon's Revenge.
What's the year? 2012?
2012. This is crazy.
So Buffy was out, so that's that. Yeah, but so it is though. It can be called a parody of just the name.
This is definitely a parody issue for sure.
Well, I happen to know that Betty and Veronica have quite the little market going on of collectors, especially when they are in swimsuits.
Yes.
I'll give it a 6.
I'm going to give it a 6 too, just because they have that whole thing. You know, but like, this is the first appearance of Vampironica, who would later get a miniseries in 2018.
Really?
Yes.
So I recently started buying an Archie title. I forget now what it's called all of a sudden. Judgment Day? Archie Comics Judgment Day?
Yes.
But I love when Archie is mixed with who I always think of as wholesome and stuff. When they mix Archie with
with Afterlife, the undead, vampires, you know, intergalactic deities and cosmic level witches.
Yes.
Of course, why not?
It's the mashup you never imagined, so that's perfect. Ooh.
Now, okay, now I love this one. Shout out to 22 for selecting this as an alternative a few weeks ago, and now it blowing up as a result.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Well, no, this is the Blonde Phantom, and there's rumor has it that Taylor Swift may be playing her. You know, sure.
I thought she just revealed she was playing Spider. Like last night.
She's gonna play who?
Spider-Gwen.
What? Taylor Swift?
I'm kidding. You can don't Google it. I'm just teasing.
Well, no, because I want to know if there's any Taylor Swift Marvel rumors.
Well, okay, that's fine, but I'm totally making that up.
I know you are. That's fine. You know? But yeah, as of yesterday, there is still who will Taylor Swift play? Like there's still rumors.
Then I am giving this a 0.
Yeah. Really? Even for the Love of Blonde Phantom?
Well, I like the cover, but again, if it's a Tay-Tay rumor that's putting this on as a shaker, then never mind. No.
Yeah, unfortunately. No. Right. Instead of people
because a year from now, when the Taylor that's been debunked, it's going to go back to where it has been ever since the day it came out.
Yeah.
Which was not on our radar. Maybe.
Scarlett Johansson is rumored to be attached to the project in a producer role. But yeah, it's another Tay-Tay rumor. I will tell you this. I don't know what's going to happen when Deadpool versus Wolverine comes out, right?
Yeah.
What I will tell you this. There's no way in hell at this point that Taylor Swift doesn't appear in some way, shape, or form, right? Like even if it's Taylor Swift as Taylor Swift, like there's just no way that that she can't just pop in there and show up.
You know, Taylor Swift was Stormtrooper number 76 in the latest Star Wars film.
Yes, so I'm just saying anything can happen. Let's make it happen. All right, so that was the last. It's funny. This is the top of the shaker list, and the one where you gave it a 0, and I have no words. I too am, and like I have zero interest. That's I am genuinely invested in Taylor being Dazzler. I actually
anyone. I don't.
No, I'm not invested in her being anyone. I don't need her to be Dazzler forever, but I desperately want her to be Dazzler this time around because I just feel like it just her being at the top of her at the top of her game, let's say, right, or the top of her career at the moment, because she's worth $1 billion now or something ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But like
She could have the movie made herself.
exactly, and she did amazing things, putting out her concert movie on her own, right? So I just feel like she would add so much to X-Men, Dazzler, just to show up for a minute or two, just being Dazzler, Other people are like, oh, but other people could play Dazzler better. Yeah, sure. And when they do the reboot, which they will do a reboot, when they do the movie reboot, we'll get a cool Dazzler. But I think she would knock it out of the park.
Oh, I like the old Dazzler. Okay, she's already been on the screen. She didn't have a starring role. It was more just
the girl in the park.
Yeah,
yeah, she was cute, but I was like, not enough that I want her up there.
Well, she didn't have a. She wasn't part of the story. It was just, oh look, here's another one of the mini mutants.
I know. It was just such a disappointment. I'm like, now you're just showing us mutants just to annoy me,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I really wanted to enjoy that movie, and I love the cast in that film, and that's it. I love the cast in that film, and right after that.
So you like that film as much as you like their interview at the Comic-Con on YouTube? Because it's still
the interview at the Comic-Con on YouTube was more entertaining.
Okay, yeah. See, there you go.
Don't you agree? Yes. I did
they often are.
Yeah, the outer space scene was cool, and that was it. And I'm mad that they reshot the ending because of stuff that Marvel was doing. So that ending we got with the train, it should have been a space scene, and so at least that would have been a cool send off. The space battle, that would have been nice. That would have been cool, even though the movie sucked.
And that was Olivia Munn was in that too, right?
Oh yeah.
And I had high hopes for how they were going to use her in that too, and I like Olivia Munn. Anyway,
I am so absolutely with you on that, and instead I am going to turn it over to you. So I gave you the challenge to bring 5 books today, comics or whatever they may be, for you to share with us and tell us your theme, sir.
Well, my theme is the top 5 volumes of the encyclopedia that I enjoy the most. You did. Oh, okay. No. Comics. So my theme.
Volcano.
My theme is. So I have I'm staring at this bookcase full of collected editions. And so my theme is my top 5, some of my top 5 favorite hardcover collected editions. And I caught myself cheating. I was going to use one entire series to intro and lead into another. And I said, no, that's not fair. I'll just use that as one of my 5 choices. So let me switch tables here, or cameras. And here's my first one. I realized also that the first 3 of these are very closely related. So I know he's kind of blacklisted right now, but his stories still are wonderful, and I've always been a fan of his writing. My first selection is Stormwatch.
And I love Tom Rainey's artwork too.
And I have the first 2 volumes here. I treat this as one story. This is volume 1 and volume 2. This volume 1, starts with the very first issue that Warren Ellis came in on, which was issue 37.
Right.
And this is issues 37 through the end of volume 1. So 37 through 50.
Right.
And I did a little research before this. It's been a while since I've read any of these, so I kind of wanted to become reacquainted with them. So I was going online to do a little research. And when Warren Ellis came on, they had just had this imprint-wide crossover. And so it was kind of the end of a big event. So when he came on, he got to introduce the concept of, or he got to start taking over and take the book in directions that he wanted to go.
Right, which would lead us into the Authority.
Yes. And I'll just bring that right here. And by the way, fun fact, this book did not sell well.
Yeah,
And,
no, it was not selling well.
and the only reason it remained continued to be published was that the publishers loved it. And
Yeah.
they wanted him to keep writing it. So he was basically telling stories for the publisher's sake. So nevertheless, so when series volume 2 ended, it ended with a book called Aliens versus, oh shoot, now I can't think of it all the time. But they had a crossover literally with the Alien franchise, and all of the all of the characters that Warren Ellis did not create were killed
Yeah.
by aliens. And all the characters that he did create survived and became the Authority.
Yep.
So here's the Authority Absolute Edition.
Fabulous.
There are 2 volumes of this. Volume 1 was written by Warren Ellis with art by Brian Hitch. Happy to go through here and look at art if you'd like. But Ellis, during Stormwatch, he introduced it to us the concept of the bleed, which is a space between parallel universes, right? And he introduces to the concept of doors, which can be opened up so that folks can teleport between those universes.
Yeah. Fun fact: when Superman encounters the bleed, when they're battling that cosmic vampire during Final Crisis, the bleed looks like giant vaginal walls.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, Warren Ellis, what a gorgeous cover.
And then back in the day when these came out, violent comics are kind of like all the thing right now, but they were kind of new back in the day. And this introduced, I don't know if I'm getting the term right, widescreen comics.
Yes.
Where a lot of double page spreads with huge action. I'm thinking of Mr.
Right, but you
Huge.
actually have to flip the book to appreciate it.
Yeah. So anyway, I would highly, and the reason this is kind of timely because isn't the Authority rumored to be making an appearance, or members of the Authority, in the upcoming Superman film?
Yes. Which, I mean, like, give me an Authority film, please give me a gay superhero couple in love,
Yes.
leading the charge with a team.
So, yes, and I know folks make a deal out of kind of Apollo and Midnighter, but in the story, it's not a big deal. They don't go, oh, look how gay we are, kind of things like that.
But you got to understand, like, for me, Phil, I had no one else at the time. For me, I had Apollo and Midnighter.
Yes, and I think that's how it should be handled. Don't shine a spotlight on it. Just treat it like it's a normal everyday thing, which is exactly what they did here, I thought. So I really liked that that's how they handled that.
Yeah. No, I loved it. And it always made sense, right? We got just enough of their love interest. We got just enough of the wedding. We got just enough of their sex life, And it was just in the plot. It wasn't, too over the top. And I love that.
It was no different than Reed and Sue Richards' relationship, right?
Yes.
They don't show them.
Well, maybe a little different, but yeah.
So that brings me to this, which is really, I love this book. Love this story. It took 10 years to tell. But this was actually also the book that introduced me to John Cassaday's art. Yep. And I like how so Planetary is an organization that bills itself as archaeologists of the impossible. It's an organization whose they're intent on discovering the world's secret history. And they do that because they maintain, and I don't know who gets to see this ever, but they maintain a record of all that stuff in what's called the Planetary Guide. So I love the way they made this book look like the Planetary Guide.
So great.
So anyway, I'll just flip as we do this, but I really love this book because most issues, are one and done. Although there's like there's an overarching story, but each issue is an homage to a certain, I don't know how you would put it, to a certain, I want to say, genre or classic.
You actually stopped at my favorite story. The one where the world could have had Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, but they interfered and made sure that none of that came to pass.
Yes. So even though they don't call them by their specific names, we all know as comic book fans who they're talking about. So there are, and I'm going to show you some individual covers here. There's a story about Tarzan. Yep. He's not called Tarzan, but we all know this is Tarzan. There's a story about the space mission that no one knew happened in the 1800s. Yep. There's a story. This is a character who is a mashup between Nick Fury and James Bond. Wow. Let's see. Here's another one. This is Sherlock Holmes. This is, if you like giant monsters, well, this is an issue where there is indeed a monster island, and this is about Monster Island. And one of my most interesting characters or storylines I thought was this about where this Doc Savage.
Yes.
He's not called Doc Savage, but they find this guy in a cave. He's like immortal, but he was trapped in this cave for, I want to say.
And he ends up becoming a regular too.
Yes, they rescue him after being trapped in a cage for like 70 or 80 years. Not cage, cave. He's injured and he can't move, but he's also immortal. So he's just laying there waiting, probably either waiting to die or for someone to find him. But they find him. And then the most interesting to me is they also do Marvel and DC stereotypes, most notably the Fantastic Four. And they don't call themselves the Fantastic Four here, but that's who they're ultimately. Yes. They call them the Four, and these folks weigh heavily in the way this book ends. So I love Planetary. I'm very excited that they are bringing these characters back in one shape, or form, and I haven't read it yet because I'm a little nervous to read it.
And the Outsiders.
And The Outsiders from DC currently being published. Yeah. Elijah Snow is there. Jakia Wagner's there. The drummer is there. So.
Yeah, let me tell you that I had no idea because when I grabbed issue number 1, like I didn't see the potential where it was going, and then most recently, they killed someone off. So I grabbed that book and I was like, "What is happening in here?"
And then,
So I don't know how you would feel about it, but I do feel like they're making the effort, but it's also not quite the same.
Okay. Well, and I would say, and if you're familiar with the other Wildstorm stuff that DC is bringing back, like the Grifter, members of the Authority, I'm not all that excited about it as a fan of the originals.
I got to tell you, the Wildcats issue series that just came out, which is a maxi series, right? Mm-hmm. That one's pretty good because it pits the Wildcats against the Court of Owls.
What book is that? What title is that?
It's called Wildcats. Just Wildcats.
When did it come out?
2023 and 2024.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. Well, I got to look for that. You liked it?
I did. And not only did it pit them against each other, there was, oh my God, the Court of Owls. And oh my God, I forgot. There's another team that you'll be very familiar with, right? That's rebirthed in the midst of this, right?
There was the Wildcats, and there was a series a couple years ago called The Wildstorm.
Right. No, this is definitely Wildcats. But anyhow, that's it. So the other group that's reborn in the midst of this, and the Court of Owls trying to manipulate everything and bring down Grifter, bring down the Wildcats, bring down Halo Corporation, right? The 7 Soldiers of Victory are reformed and are caught in the middle of this too. So now, like,
wow, really?
Grifter is like struggling to defeat the Court of Owls, to keep people on his side, because of course certain members of the Wildcats immediately turned against him, but the 7 soldiers, now there's the all new 7 Soldiers of Victory, and it is a problem. It is a problem.
I gotta go looking for that.
And
I have no idea why.
They should be on your comic rack. It should be in your, it's probably sitting in your back issue bin. You're like, I guess I did order these. or walk into your comic shop. I'd be like, where's all the stuff from the last 12 months? Oh, over here. Well, look at that. But yeah, it was and again, don't want it to make it out to be like it was the greatest thing I ever read. I just want to make it out to be like it was a really fun story to enjoy. It's only 12 issues. That's it. That's all you need.
Okay. Good.
All right. That was
got two left.
Oh shit, you got two left. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I'll go quickly. The first one is
yes.
This was the first horror comic I guess this is the first book I ever read that scared the heck out of me. And it was Swamp Thing by Alan Moore.
Yes. That's a beautiful freaking omnibus too.
And
or hard
caution, the first printing, which this is not, had binding issues. So they put out another edition, which I got because I didn't want to tear my first edition up. I love it so much. Anyway, this starts where Alan Moore came on, which was with issue 20. That's what this is. I brought this along so you could see because they've changed the coloring.
Yes, it's very hard for them to hire the colorist that know how to bring out the colors of the past issues.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. Because guess what, Phil? I know some of the colorists that work on these books.
Oh, you do?
Yes, and so like some of them are older and like they remember what the color coding was. And so they'll try to bring stuff to life as close as possible. And then sometimes they straight up have to start from scratch because you just can't recreate certain things back then, right? Like certain times that fire was used, you can't do what you did then. So you've got to work with what you've got now. It's very, very interesting.
You can see the difference here. So there's the recolored version, and here is the original.
Yeah.
Anyway, love this story. A lot of people think that Swamp Thing used to be Alec Holland. That is not true. And this is the storyline where Alan Moore turned his origin upside down.
Yes.
Swamp Thing was never Alec Holland. Swamp Thing is really an Earth elemental who thinks he was Alec Holland.
Yeah. Well, because he like grew through his body or something fun like that.
Yeah, he has the memories of Alec Holland. And it turns out Swamp Thing, Earth elements in general, he's just and Alec Holland's role in it was just one in a long line of Earth elementals. And one of the issues is going back through all the ages and looking at all the origin of all the different Swamp Things.
Yeah. Fun fact. Did you read the Firestorm series where he needed to gather the Earth elementals, or it's not Earth? He needed to gather the world's elementals to battle Nadia, the water elemental.
Oh no, I didn't. I'm not familiar with that.
You need to go and find yourself some Firestorm, sir. So the easiest person for him to recruit was Swamp Thing, because Swamp Thing's like, "Yep, I get it, right?" And he's like, "Yep, don't want to exterminate life, got you." And then they had to get Red Tornado and like engage the fact that Red Tornado is the air elemental. And then of course Nadia was not a joke. Nadia was a ferocious villain. And then of course the fact that Firestorm, and this was the Russian dude, had to embrace his role as the fire elemental.
How long ago was that?
When was Firestorm the Russian fire elemental? Like how long?
When was that published, I guess is my question.
Oh my, no, that's what I'm saying. Like I can't remember if it was late 80s, mid 90s.
Oh, so a while back then. That's not a recent story. Okay, yeah.
No, dude, that's what I'm saying. This is like so good, so worth going back. Firestorm, Nadia, Elementals. The Elemental series was that can't be. No, let me go back. You know what? You gotta like force Google to understand your human language. It's really fun.
Yeah, train it.
So I gotta do. So I'm gonna force Firestorm, force Nadia, force DC Comics. Firestorm Volume 2, 67. So that was published in 1988.
Wow. Okay.
And that's the beginning of Ronnie trying to rid himself of Firestorm. And then that's when we get Mikhail Arkadin and then we quickly spiral off into Siberia and a Cold War story, and then the elemental battle.
I wasn't aware that happened. I'm going to go back and look at that.
Right,
and
so
that's obviously, and that's back in the 80s. That's when Swamp Thing was.
Yep.
I would say more popular than he's ever been. Was back then when that was happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And John Ostrander was the writer at the time. So yes, so if you want to go back to it, I highly recommend you begin with Firestorm Volume 2, number 67. It's part of Millennium Week 1 if you want to feel really dated about it.
Oh wow, we all know how impactful Millennium Week was.
Hey, I have never recovered from Laurel Kent being a manhunter. That betrayal to the Legion of Superheroes lives with me forever.
That's funny.
Oh, Pocan Joe agrees on Planetary, as you should, sir.
So this is my last pick. It's Sandman. I have this whole Sandman series in multiple forms. This is my favorite. This is the faux leather edition box, the Absolute edition, reprinting issue 1 of Sandman, and on. I think that the first trade of Sandman, in my opinion, is one of the best gateway books for non-comic book readers. I love the story structure and the way he's introduced. I mean, what an odd character to have to explain.
So great, but it works so well. I love that all the setups are part anecdotal, part what's the word I'm looking for here? Part anthology. Anyhow, I can't think of the other words I'm looking for, but that's what I want to say about it. I love it. I love that.
And then without spoiling it, and here's one of my favorite scenes is when he goes to hell. Looking for his helmet.
And by the way, that's my favorite story of that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the word battle is my favorite. I love it so much.
Yes. And rhyming demons, I'm always intrigued by. But ultimately, in the first book, we learn that Dream of the Endless is held captive, and by the end of it, he escapes. I'm not spoiling anything. The rest of that arc is where he goes about recovering the mantles of his office.
Yep.
In a much weakened state because he's been gone from his realm for so long. And so over the course of that storyline, we learn who he is. We learn his role in the universe. We learn what the things is he's capable of doing and how formidable he is. But we also are introduced to the Endless in general, which are his 6 siblings. He's one of 7 siblings, all of whom play a role in the larger DCU.
And it's such an impressive book. And also Netflix, thanks to Neil Gaiman himself being the show lead, it did an amazing and impressive job.
Yeah.
All right, Phil, I have to get going. Mostly that's it.
Okay.
I super enjoyed having you. I love the collection you shared with us today. I look forward to having you back, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast being here, and I'm always enjoy being in your audience on a Saturday morning.
All right. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. All right, everyone, get over to Philtastic Comics. Go check out Roscoe as Phil's guest. They're having a lovely time over there. I love you all. Please take care. I only wish that StreamYard had that feature to push you to the other channel. That would be even better.
Oh, that would be cool. Yes.
It would be so cool. But until next time, always remember...